Creating incredible graphics is in reach, even if you have no design experience at all, with Canva. I think Canva is a tool for two types of people: great visual designers and people who are not great designers. Canva is fast and collaborative, giving experienced designers the tools they need. But if you are not a designer, you can depend on beautiful pre-made templates or stock graphics. And Canva has artificial intelligence features that can help you bring your ideas to life. Canva's real power is allowing those two types of people to work together collaboratively. Skilled graphic designers can make decisions about branding and create reusable designs that can be modified and published by their team members. There are a few ways to create a new blank design in Canva. One option is to click the button near the top right that says Create a Design. Now, there are many different types of design projects you can make. You might be using Canva to design logos or make graphics for a social media post, but it can also be used for video projects, for print publications, and more. Of course, there's nothing wrong with using Canva for one specific type of design, but you should be careful to choose the right design type when you start your project. As you point at each of these presets, you will see the dimensions. For example, if I point at the preset for video, it has dimensions of 1920 pixels wide by 1080 pixels tall. This is a standard resolution for video. But when I point at a preset for the poster, this has dimensions that are measured in inches because posters are generally designed to be printed. And some presets, like for a whiteboard, do not have set dimensions because they can scale infinitely. Now, in most cases, you don't have to think too much about the dimensions, but later in this course, we'll see some options for changing the size of a project if you need to. So, of course, you could choose one of these presets from the list, or you can use the search field up at the top. For example, if I search for Instagram, it shows the different types of designs I could make that are formatted for an Instagram post. So I'm just going to start by choosing a standard Instagram post. And at this point, I recommend you at least rename each new design as you make them so you can identify them when managing your projects later. So you can click on the name field up at the top, type in the name that you want to use, then hit the return key. So I have this design project open, and I want you to see that it opens in a separate tab. I can see the tab for it up here at the top. Now, I'm working in the desktop application. If you're working with Canva on the web, each design project will open in a separate web browser tab, but it will functionally work the same. If you want to close the tab, you can click the X, and that will close the design. Or if you click on this home icon to the left, that takes us back to the main page. But if you did not close that design, it's still open in another tab and you can switch over to it. But for now, I do want to go back to the main page. Now, a different way to start a new project is using this banner. You could choose one of these popular design categories, and then you can browse through the more specific design types within that category. Now, if you choose the category labeled For You, you can browse through several of the most common design types, or you can quickly open one of your recent projects. But still, if you open one of these presets, like if I choose the whiteboard preset here, once again, you get that new design in a new blank workspace. And naturally, I want to go to the title field and give this a name. Now, you should notice that this design is formatted for this specific type, this time a whiteboard. The background looks different compared to that Instagram design, and some of the controls look different. Different types of designs will have different options and controls, but there are some tools that work the same in almost all types of designs. On the left side, you will always see this panel with the buttons on the far left, and you can close this panel by clicking this arrow, but you can open it again by clicking on any of these tabs. And you'll find that the tabs for adding graphical elements, uploading your own photos, adding text, or drawing elements will be here and will work the same in almost all of your projects. Now, finally, it's important to see that your designs can have multiple pages. At the bottom of this design, I can see that there's this page button. It has the number 1 on it because I only have one page so far. But I can click on that to see the grid view. I can click the plus button here to create additional pages, and then I can double click on the page that I want to work with. Those are the controls in a whiteboard design, but if I go over to the Instagram design that I still have open, you'll see it works the same. I can click the button down at the bottom, I can add more pages, I can double click to switch to the page that I want, But you'll find that most projects also have this option directly in the interface to add additional pages. So I can click that, and then you can also scroll up and down through those pages. So now I've made a few designs. Now you don't have to worry about saving changes to your designs. All of your changes will save automatically. These projects will be there later when we learn about managing existing projects. In this video, we will see how to make a new design starting with a template. Templates are nice because some of the design work is already done and you can use it as a starting point. From the home page in Canva, you could browse through the categories here in the banner. And of course, the first few results are usually for blank designs, but if you scroll down, you can usually find templates. Or another option would be to use the search field here in the banner. From here, you can be very specific in what you're looking for. So click on the search field and make sure you set it to search for templates and then type in what you're looking for. Hit the return key, and then you'll see lots of options here in the search results for templates that you can choose from. Or the more common way to find a template is to go to the sidebar on the left. Remember, if you don't see the sidebar, you can click the button up in the top left with 3 lines. You'll see there's an option here that says all templates, but I want to reset back to the main page. So I'll click the Canva logo up in the top left, and you may see a line here in the sidebar that simply says templates. So you can select that, and then you can start browsing. So you might go to these categories here. You can click more to see more categories, but I could go to social media and then choose the subcategory for Instagram posts, for example. And then I see lots of options for templates here. So you might want to browse through. Just be aware if you see the icon with a crown on it, you would have to have the Canva Pro account to use that template. Some other templates may have an icon that shows that you'll have to pay extra to use the template. But if there's no icon, you can use that template for free. So find a template that looks interesting. You can click on it to see more information, including the dimensions. And if you want to use that template, just click Customize this template. And now I have a new design, but this one is not blank. It has some elements already here. I could keep them or edit them or remove them depending on what I want to do with this project. So you could click and drag the graphical elements to move them around. If you see a text box, you can double click on it and you can change that text. But for now, I'm not going to make any changes, but I do want to give this a better name. So I'll go to the name field up at the top. I'll select the name that's here, which is just the name of the template, and then I'll type in the name that I want to use and hit the return key. Next, I want to look at the controls over on the left, and I want to make sure the Design tab is selected so we see the Design panel open here. And from here, you can go through templates and styles. So this is another way to find templates. You can even use the search field up at the top. So even though I started this design from one template, I could go to the Design tab and choose a completely different template. Or maybe I wanted to have multiple pages in this design. So I could click the Add Page button here. So now I have a new separate page, and I could apply a completely different template to that page. So you can have multiple pages in a design with completely different templates. So you can do that in a design project that you created from a template, or if we go back to the home screen and just clear all this to reset, if you make a blank design by going to the Create a Design button, and I'll just start a new Instagram post, you could start with a blank design, but then you could apply a template here from the Design tab. So you could choose a template and apply it even if you started with a blank design. So those are a few ways to make a design starting with a pre-made template. If you can find a template that you like, it can really save you a lot of time and work. Canva has some features that use artificial intelligence to take care of some of the design work for you. Later in this course, there are videos that focus specifically on AI tools. But in this video, we will see one AI tool that you can use when you first create a design. The Magic Design feature can choose a template and customize a design based on a picture that you provide. To start, you could go to the Template section in the sidebar on the left, then click the option here for Magic Design, and then you'll need to upload one of your own pictures. Or another option would be to click the button up at the top for Create a Design. Then you can choose Import File, and once again, you'll need to upload one of your own pictures. So I'll navigate to the folder where I have my pictures, choose the picture that I want, then click Open. And we're getting a look at some features that we will cover later in this course in the video about importing your own pictures. But to use Magic Design at this point, you can click this button that says Add to a Template. And then it will generate some suggestions. These are potential starting points for new design projects. It uses artificial intelligence to inspect the contents of my picture. In my case, it helps that there's some text visible on the labels on the bottles in this picture. It gives the AI more information to work from. These suggestions combine my picture with existing templates that may match the style of the picture. Now, of course, it's not perfect. In this case, I actually see some templates that are based on cosmetics. So you might not want to use those. Or maybe you could start with one of those templates and make some changes, and it still might work out very well. Now, before I choose one of these, there are adjustments that you can make to improve the results. Up at the top, we should go to this category menu and choose the type of design project you want. It's currently suggesting a mix of different types of designs, but I want to set it to only show posters. So I'll go to the marketing category and I'll choose poster. That updates so it's only showing templates with a poster design. Then I'll go to this media menu and I see the picture that I uploaded. I could switch that by uploading a different picture. So I'll click choose file and I'm still in that same folder. I'll choose a different picture and click open. And now there are new suggestions based on that other picture. You can only use one picture at a time in the creation stage, but you can certainly add more pictures to your design later. There are other menus here. Under Style, you could choose a different color palette, and if you go to Headline, you can type in your own custom headline. Then click Add to Results, and it will update those suggestions. And then there is a button for all filters up at the top where you can check all of these options, and there are even more filters that you can set. But for now, I'm just going to click Done here. After you get all of these details set, if you see one of these suggestions that you like, you can select it, then choose Customize this template. And now I have a new design. Working from here is just like starting with any other template. Naturally, I should give this a name, so I'll go to the name field, select what's there, type in the name that I want to use, hit the return key, and then I can get to work. Templates can take care of a lot of the design work for you, and the Magic Design feature goes a step further by helping you choose a template to match your images. In this video, we will see how to browse, open, and manage existing design projects that you've already created. On the main page in Canva, we can go to the sidebar on the left and select the option for projects. And here you can see all of the designs that you've made. When you make a new design, as we saw in another video, it will be saved automatically. And this is where you can find those designs to open them later. So you could browse your most recent designs up here at the top, or if you scroll down, you can see a list of all of your designs. Also, if you've uploaded any of your own pictures, those are managed here as well. Using a button near the top right, you can switch between the grid view and the list view, and you'll see that the list view will be applied to your list of all designs, but you'll still see the full-sized icons in the recent section. I'll just reset that back to the grid view. And if you're looking for a design from a specific range of time, you can use this menu to filter the list. Now, naturally, you can just click on one of the designs from here to open it. When it opens up in a new tab. And if you want to close it again, you can just click the X on that tab to close it. Any changes that you make will be saved automatically. So now I'm back here looking at my designs. Now, when you point your mouse cursor at a design, this button with 3 dots will appear. You can click on that to open this menu. From here, you can change the name of the design. Just click the pencil icon and type in the new name that you want and hit the return key. You can also delete the design by choosing this option, Move to Trash. When I do that, you'll see that design goes away. But there is a trash can accessible in the sidebar on the left, so you can choose that and see all of the items that you have deleted. You can point at one of these items and that button with 3 dots will appear. You can click that to open the menu here as well. So you could restore it to put it back where it was before you deleted it, or you can choose Delete Permanently and confirm, and that has been permanently deleted. Okay, let's go back to the projects view. So I'll choose projects here on the sidebar on the left. And again, I'm going to open this menu on one of my designs. And there's an option here to move this design to a folder. If you have lots of designs, you may want to make folders to get them organized. So I'm going to choose that here. And since I don't have any folders yet, I could choose this option that says Create New. I need to give this new folder a name. I'll call it Social Projects. Then click Add to New Folder. So now I do still see that design listed here in the recent section, but it has also been sorted into this new folder called Social Projects. Another way to do this would be to go to the top and click this button that says Add New, then choose Folder. And I need to give this folder a name, so I'll call this one Marketing. Then I'll click Continue. Now, if I scroll a bit on this page, I do see that new folder, but there's nothing in that folder yet. So what I might want to do is scroll down to the list of all designs and then drag a design to that folder. And I can see it has been added to that folder. And you can drag multiple designs that way, and you can click on the folder to see the contents of the folder and open something from here. When you work with your design projects from here, up at the top, you can see the path to the folder that you're looking at. You can click the projects button here on the path, or you can just choose all projects over here on the left to reset back to that main project management page. So feel free to make as many designs as you need. You can organize them and open them from this project section. In this video, we will see some options for exporting your finished designs. When you have a design project open, the Share button in the top right is where you will find options to export it. Perhaps the most common option would be to download your project. So I'll select that. When you do this, there's a menu where you can choose the file type for the file you download. A PNG file is a common picture file type, so it is the default option for many designs. But you could also choose a JPEG or PDF file if you're working with a picture. If you make a design with animated elements or a video project, you can export it as an MP4 video or an animated GIF. There's also an option for SVG files, which is a scalable vector format that you can bring into other applications that work with vector graphics. But the type of design you're working on will determine the type of file you want to download. Later in this course, there's a chapter that goes into details on different types of design projects, and we will talk more about some of these download options there. For this design, I'm going to choose the PNG file type, and there are some additional options that you can use if you have a Canva Pro account. One of these is to preserve a transparent background. If you make a graphic in Canva and you do not set a background color or a background image, you can keep that background as transparent in your downloadable image, but only if you choose the PNG format and only if you have a Canva Pro account. Once you choose your settings, you can just click the download button to download a copy to your computer. But let's click the back button up in the top left and look at some other options. There's also an option here to print your design, but this may not be what you think. If you do want to print your design using your own printer connected to your computer, then you should download it as a picture or a PDF file. Then you can open that downloaded file and print it on your computer. The print option here in this menu is for a printing service that Canva offers. Canva can print your design professionally as a poster, on an art canvas, a t-shirt, business card, and more. You can browse options here, or you can do a search. Then you can choose the option that you want to print with. Now, it may need to resize your design to fit the printing requirements, so it might be better to start with a template for the specific print product that you're planning to make. We'll see those options in another video in this course. As you go through this process, you will see the price and you can place your order. But for now, I'm just going to click the back button to take a step back. And there are a few other options here that we're not able to cover yet. These will be covered later in the course, but it's good to introduce them here. Up at the top, there are a few options for sharing a project in progress with your teammates. We'll get into these options in the chapter on working in a team. And there's also an option here to share your design on social. This is a very popular option. You can publish your design directly to Instagram, Facebook, and many other social media platforms. You will need to link the social media account that you want to use, then you can publish directly to it. And there's also an option to schedule a social media post to automatically publish at a specific time. And of course, we will cover all this in the video on making social media posts. But for now, I'll just click the back button up at the top. So as you start making your designs, it's good to start thinking about the end result that you want. Do you want to print it, publish it on a social media post, or do you want a picture that you can use in some other application? Think about what you plan to do with your designs. The videos in this chapter will go through the core tools of designing a graphic project. In this video, we'll set the background in a design, then add simple objects and text. So I'll start by clicking Create a Design up at the top, and just to have a project in mind, I'm going to make a design for an Instagram post. So now I have my new design. I'll click on the name field up at the top and type in the name that I want to use and hit the return key. So we start with an empty workspace. Whenever you select something in your design, you will see formatting tools in the bar up at the top. And we can actually see this even in an empty workspace. If I click on the background, we get a few formatting tools for the background. And one option is to click this color box and change the color of the background. So I'll set that to a light blue. Then if I click outside of that control panel, it resets it. And at this point, if I click away from the background, you'll see it will reset that formatting bar. Next, the sidebar on the left has lots of options for adding content to your design. I'll go to the Elements tab, and these are objects like basic shapes and simple graphics that you can add to your design. We'll start with shapes, and I could click this arrow to scroll through, or I could click See All to see more options. But once you find one that you want, you can click on it or drag it to your workspace. So now I have a shape and it is selected. If I click outside of it, the shape is not selected. But if I click on it once, it is selected. And since this shape is selected, I can see the formatting options up at the top are set specifically for that shape. So these formatting options will be different depending on the type of object you have selected. And the reason we see controls for text is that a shape can be used as a text box. If you double click on a shape, you can actually type some text directly into it. But I don't want to do that in this case, so I'm going to delete that text, and then I'll reset by clicking away from the shape, then click on it once to select it. And then I'll make some adjustments using these formatting tools. If I click this button, I've got the option to put a border on this shape, so I'll make a solid border and make it thicker. If I click this box, I can change the color of that border. I'll set that to a dark green. And if I click on this box, I can change the color of the inside of the shape. So I'll set that to white. Then I'll click outside of that control panel to reset it. Also, you can change the size or proportions of most elements by dragging the handles that appear around the object when it's selected. So I could grab a corner and change the size of it, or I could drag one of the sides, which will change the proportions. Also, you'll see that there is this curved arrow button below it or beside the shape. You can drag that to change the rotation. But for now, I'll click the undo button up at the top to undo that change. Then naturally, I can drag it around and place it where I want it to be in the design. Also, when an object is selected, you'll see this floating panel either above or below it. You can click the trash can button to delete it, the duplicate button to make a duplicate of it, or you can click this button with 3 dots to open this menu for even more options. But for now, I'm just going to click outside of that shape so it's no longer selected. So that's one shape. Back to the controls on the left, I'm still looking at the list of shapes. I could click this back button up at the top, and from here I could browse through other elements, and we'll cover some of these in other videos. But next, I want to add some text. So on the far left side, I'll select the Text tab. So you could add a basic text box, you could add a header, or one of these pre-made text styles. Select the one that you want, and you can click on it or drag it to the workspace. So this text object is selected. To change the text, you can double click on it, and then you can drag to select the text that's there. I'm going to delete that text and then type in the text that I want to use. Then, with the text box selected, I can use the formatting tools up at the top. So I could change the font, or I could use the controls here to make that bigger. And there are also options for text effects. I'll select that. And from here, you can add some effects. Or if you had started with a pre-made text style, then it may already have some effects applied to it that you can adjust. But I'm going to apply a shadow to this text, and I'll change the offset a little bit. Then I'll click outside of that panel to reset it. Then naturally, I can drag this text box around and place it where I want it to be in the design. So now I've added a few basic elements to my design, and we've also learned controls that you will use to add and modify all types of other objects as we go through this course. Canva offers a huge library of stock graphics and photos that you can add to your design projects. I'm starting with this design that just has a shape and some text so far. Using techniques we saw in another video, I've added a few additional text boxes. On the left, I want to make sure the Elements tab is selected, and then I could choose from basic lines and shapes. But you'll see there are lots of other graphic elements available as well. You can scroll through each of these categories, or you could go to a category and click where it says See All. So if I click See All on the graphics category, from here, I can see some graphics that I've used recently in other projects, as well as other subcategories. So you could browse here, but for now, I'm going to click the back button up at the top. And I also want you to see that there are categories for stock photos and videos as well. So I could click See All on one of those, and I could browse through. But once again, I'll click the back button to reset. So you could just browse, but at any point you could also use the search field up at the top. If you're inside of a category, it will only search that category. Or from the main page here in Elements, I can do a search, and I'm going to search for olive branch and hit the return key. And now it shows me graphics, stock photos, and videos with that search term. I'll go to the graphics category and click See All so we can focus only on graphics. Now, as we've seen before in Canva, the crown icon on some of these means that you can only use that item if you have the Canva Pro account. But there are other free graphics that I could choose from here. So I'm going to choose this graphic of an olive branch and I'll drag it to my design. Then, of course, I can grab the corners and resize it, and then I can drag it and place it where I want it to be in my design. I'll make that just a little bit smaller and place it there. And like any other object, when it is selected, you have some controls above or below it. So I'll click this duplicate button to duplicate that graphic. Now I have a second one and I can move that around. And also with this object selected, I can see the formatting tools for it up at the top, tools that are specific to the object that is currently selected. So I'm going to use this flip option and flip this horizontally so that will mirror that object, and then I can drag that around and place it where I want it to be in the design. Next, I'll go back to the sidebar on the left where my search for an olive branch is still in effect. To clear that search, I can click the X in the search field. Then I'm going to search for something different. I'll search for olive oil, then hit the return key. And this time I'll go to the category for photos and click See All, so I'm only looking at photos for that search result. And of course, I could drag one of these photos to my design. But you should be careful here because it is very easy to drag a picture to your design and drop it on the background, and that will use that picture as a background for your design, which is a very good option, but it's just not what I want for this design. So I'm going to click the Undo button up in the bar at the top, and then I'll drag it in again. I just need to make sure that it's not taking up the background before I let go. Then, naturally, I can resize this picture and place it where I want it to be in the design. So now you can add a little more to your designs using the included stock graphics and photos. The stock photos and graphics that come with Canva are great, but you may want to use some of your own images in your design. With a design open, you can go to the Uploads tab on the far left side. If you've uploaded pictures in the past, they will be here in this tab. So I can see pictures that I uploaded earlier in this course in the video on the Magic Design feature. But I want to upload something new. So I'll click the Upload Files button, navigate to the folder where I have the picture that I want, select it, and click Open, and it will be added here in this tab. Or you can drag a picture directly to this panel. So you could open File Explorer on Windows or Finder on a Mac. Then you can find the picture that you want and drag it directly to that panel. So now I have my pictures available in this Uploads tab. These pictures will stay in this tab and I can find them here when I'm working on designs in the future. For this design, all I need to do is drag the one I want onto the workspace. And in this case, I'm going to select the picture that I have here and delete it. Then I'll drag in my own picture that I want to use. So I'll drop it there and then I can resize it and place it where I want it to be in the design. So that's how you can bring one of your own pictures into a design. However, there is another way to work with your own pictures. And for that, I'm going to switch over to the home page in Canva, and then I'll create a new design by clicking the Create a Design button up at the top. And you'll see that there's an option in this menu to import a file, or you can use one of the other pictures that you've already imported. But I'll choose Import a File, then navigate to the picture that I want here in the folder. Select that picture, then click Open. From here, the button that says Add to a Template will take you to the Magic Design feature, which we saw earlier in this course. Or this button that says Use in a New Design will create a new design that just contains this picture and nothing else. Or you could just use the editing tools to edit the picture. So you can click the Edit Photo button here, then use these editing tools. Here in the Effects tab, you could choose one of these filters to apply a change in one click. Or if you go to the Adjust tab, you can adjust these sliders to make a manual adjustment. So let's say I wanted to decrease the saturation, I could make that change here. Or you can go to the Crop tab, and then you can adjust this box to crop down to the part of the picture that you want to keep. And if all this looks good, you can click the Done button. And when you're finished, you have some options up in the top right. If you click the Save button, you could just download this edited version of the picture. So you could just use this as a quick standalone image editor. Or if you click Save to Canva, it will add this edited version of the picture to that Uploads tab, so you'll be able to bring this picture into future designs. Or you can click the button that says Use in a Design, and that will start a new design project which already contains that picture. Then, naturally, you can add other elements to this design and get to work. Now, finally, there's one more thing to see. We saw before that imported pictures will be available for other designs in the future. So with the design open, you can click on that Uploads tab on the left, and you will see this picture, and the other pictures that I uploaded earlier are still here. That includes the original version of the picture and the edited version. They will be there available when I'm working in other designs. Now, if you get too many pictures in your uploads list and you need to remove some, you can just point at one. You'll see this button with 3 dots will appear. You can click that to open the menu, and there's an option to move it to the trash. And also, if we go back to the main page in Canva, and I'll just close this to reset, you can select the project section in the sidebar on the left. From here, if you scroll down past your designs to the images section, all of the images that you've uploaded will be accessible here as well. Of course, you could delete them from here, or you can manage them by sorting them into folders. So those are a few ways you can upload and use your own pictures in a Canva design. In this video, we will see how to edit pictures in a design. So I'll start by selecting this picture of olive oil bottles that I have in my design. And when you have a picture selected, you can go to the formatting tools up at the top, and you'll see this option for Edit Photos. Now, before we get started, these options listed under Tools are more advanced features that use artificial intelligence, and they do require a Canva Pro account. We will explore these later in the course. But the rest of the tools are available to all users, even with the free version of Canva, and that's what we'll cover in this video. And we've seen a version of some of these tools in another video. Starting from the Effects tab, we can go to the Filters, and we can apply one of these, or we can click See All to see even more options. So these can be applied with one click. When you find one that you like, you can just click on it, and it's applied to the picture. And often they will have a slider where you can adjust the intensity of that effect. When you're finished here, you can click the back button up in the top to go back. Next, we can go to the Adjust tab where you can make manual adjustments. Usually these are controlled with sliders. So if I wanted to change the brightness of this picture, I could adjust that slider. And you can make changes to multiple sliders within this panel. Then you can go over to the Crop tab to crop the picture. With this active, you can grab the corners of the box around the picture to change the crop. And if you like this, you can click Done, or if you don't, you can click Cancel. So I'll click Done, and those changes have been applied. But of course, you can select that picture again, and you can click Edit Photo to open that panel again. So you might want to try these editing tools to make adjustments to your pictures. And when you're finished with the photo editing tools, you can just click outside of this panel to close it. Next, have you ever wanted to crop a picture to a specific shape? You can do that in Canva using an object called a frame. On the left side, I'll click the tab for Elements. Then using the search field up at the top, I'll search for Frames. Now, you should make sure that you use the options here in the frames category. The graphics, photos, and videos that we see here are not frame elements. They just have the word frame in their descriptions. So I could choose from this frames category, or I could click see all to see more options. So you could choose any of these, but I'm just going to choose the circle. So I'll drag that frame onto my workspace. Then I can drag the picture onto the frame. And now it has cropped that picture to that specific shape. And this works exactly the same with any of the other frames you have in this category. And of course, I can move this around and resize it and place it where I want it to be in my design. So that's a quick look at some essential picture editing tools that you can use when working with pictures in your designs. I now have a Canva design with several elements on it. And in this video, we'll talk about working with the layer order because there is a challenge that you might experience at this point. For example, I want to move the shape graphic behind my text, so I'll click on it to select it. But that did not select the shape. It selected the text box. And if I move that, I'm moving that text box. That's because elements in a design are stacked on top of each other like sheets of paper. This text box is one big rectangle. Even though most of it is transparent, it's still a big rectangle object over top of that shape. And depending on your design, sometimes it can be hard to select something when another object is on top of it. I'm going to click over here just to reset. Now, before we change the layer order, there are a few tricks to help you select what you want. Before you click on something, just move your mouse cursor around, and you'll see the boundaries around the object that you're pointing at. So you could take it slow and be careful and point at an object until you see the box around it. Then you can click, and that will select the object that you wanted. For now, I'll click outside of that to reset again. Another option is to just go ahead and click on the object that is blocking the element that you want. So I'm going to click on this text box. With that selected, you can hold the Control key on your keyboard if you're using Windows, or the Command key if you're using a Mac, then click on it again, and when I move my mouse cursor away, you'll see that it has selected the object behind that text box. So just a quick way to select something if it's being blocked by something else. But with that in mind, we should learn how to actually manipulate layers. So I'm going to start by selecting this text box. When an element is selected, you have the formatting tools up at the top, and one of them is position. So I'll click on position, which opens this panel on the left. And from here, you can move the selected element forward or backward. Backward would be one layer closer to the background, and forward would be closer to the top. So you'll see if I click backward on this item enough times, it looks like that text box has disappeared. It has not disappeared, it's just now behind the shape. So if I click forward again, that will move it forward. You could also click to back to move something all the way behind everything else, or you can choose to front to move something all the way in front of everything else. Or it may be easier to switch from the Arrange tab over to the Layers tab. And here you can see all of your layers listed in order. You can select an element just by clicking on the layer. And that's an easy way to select something so that you can move it. Or you can click and hold the handle with 6 dots on one of these layers, and then you can drag it up or down in that layer order. So now I've moved this up, and now this shape is blocking those text boxes. So in this case, I do want to go ahead and move it back down in the layer order. Of course, this may take a little trial and error, but now you've got some options. And to finish, it may help to group objects together. I'll start by selecting one text box, and with that text box selected, I can hold the Shift key on the keyboard and click on another text box. So with these two objects selected, you'll see there's an option for Group in the floating panel that appears above or below it. If you choose Group, those two objects are now grouped together. And if I move one, they will move together. Sometimes when you add pre-made text styles to a design, there will be multiple text boxes grouped together like this. So keep an eye out for that. And if this ever becomes a problem, you can always select that group and you'll see there's an option there to ungroup. And now those are two separate elements again. So with a little understanding of how the layer order works, you should have an easier time selecting objects in your designs. In this video, we'll talk about changing the dimensions or the size of your design projects. At the beginning of this course, we saw how to make a new design. I clicked on the button that said Create a Design at the top, and we saw that as you point at each of these design presets, you see the dimensions. The dimensions of this preset are 1080 pixels wide by 1080 pixels high. So when you make a project, the dimensions are set. The same is true if you start with a template. Now you do have an option here in the new design menu to create a design with a custom size. Here you can set whether you need the new design to be measured in pixels, which you would use for on-screen graphics, or you can choose inches or centimeters for designs that you plan to print. Then you can set the dimensions that you want. So I could set this by 1280 pixels wide, by 720 pixels tall, then click Create New Design. So you can choose a design preset or template or make your own custom design. But once you start the design, the dimensions are set. However, there is a feature to change the dimensions or size of a design later, but that option is only available if you have a Canva Pro account. Before we see this, I want to switch over to a design I've been working on. And there are 2 pages in this design. Each one uses a different template. And this project was created using dimensions for an Instagram post. Instagram posts have square dimensions. But what if I decide I want to publish this to Facebook? This picture would need to have different dimensions. Well, with your design open, you can click the Resize button up in the top left, and you can see the dimensions of your project. And if you have a pro account, you can change those dimensions. So I do have a pro account, so I could type in new dimensions here in these boxes. Or I could choose one of the dimension presets from this list. So I'm going to choose the preset for a Facebook post with the landscape orientation. And at this point, I have 2 options down at the bottom. I could just resize this design, or I could make a new copy with the new dimensions. That way I could keep the original version and the resized version. But before I make that choice, you should know that you can resize your designs to more than one new size at a time. So in addition to the dimensions for a Facebook post, I also want to resize this for a poster. So scrolling through these options, I can find the option for poster, and now I have selected 2 new sizes. And now it no longer gives me the option to resize this one design. Now it only will let me make new copies with the 2 new sets of dimensions. So that's fine. I'll click Copy and Resize. And now I have these 2 new designs open in separate tabs. So I can go to my original design and I can see it with its original dimensions. I can go to this version, which now has the wider dimensions for a Facebook post, and this one, which has the taller dimensions for a poster. And scrolling through, I can see that those dimensions have been applied to both pages. Now, this usually does a good job to balance the elements for the new size, but of course you can and should make adjustments. Most of the time, your designs will have dimensions that you need when you create them. But if you have a pro account, you can resize your designs or make several versions of your designs with different dimensions. The videos in this chapter will show some features in Canva that use artificial intelligence to create new content or intelligently edit content in our designs. In this video, we will see how to use artificial intelligence to generate a new picture. So if you can't find the picture that you want to use in your design, maybe Canva's AI can create that image. So I'm starting with a design open, and on the left side, I want to click on the Apps tab. The apps here are not separate applications. They are optional add-ons that you can use inside of Canva. So for example, you could use apps to generate a QR code for your design, insert emojis, or embed YouTube videos. But for now, I want to focus on this app called Text to Image. I can see it listed up at the top here, but if you don't see it, you can use the search field to find it. Just search for Text to Image. Then you can select it, and then you just need to type into this text field. So I'll try to write the description for the image that I want. Then hit the return key, and after a moment, it will generate some options. I think this one looks nice, so I'm going to drag it over to my design. Now, I could just drag it as a picture, or if I move around here, I could drag it in as a background, which is what I want. So I'll let go there, and I've swapped out the background for this AI generated picture. That was very fast, and I think this will look good in my design. You may want to take some time and experiment with different descriptions to see what you get. Let's try something different. So I'm going to delete what I have in this text box and type in something else. Then I'll click Create again and see what options I get. You may see some results that you like, but if not, you can always click Create again, or you can change the description and click Create again. And it will try to generate some more options. Okay, I think that this one will work well in my design, so I'm going to drag that. I do not want to drop it as the background. I'll just drop it as a normal picture. Then naturally I can resize it and move it where I want in my design. Now, I will admit that we have some things on my design that don't look so great. I can't really see the text at the bottom with this new background image, and these pictures don't all work great together. Of course, I could change the color of that text, but I actually have some ideas that will address these design problems, and this will look much better after the next video in this course. But to finish up with the text to image app, if it ever happens to generate a perfect picture that you love and you want to use it again in future designs, that's no problem, because any picture that you add to a design will be saved. So if we go to the Uploads tab over on the far left, I can see those pictures are here. It does not save every generated picture, but any picture that you actually add to a design at least once will be saved here. You can always delete them from here if you want to remove them, or you could leave them here and use them in future designs. So try the text to image generator anytime you have a specific idea for a picture that you cannot find in the stock photo library. In this video, we will see how to remove the background from a picture in your design. This feature does require a Canva Pro account. I'll start with this picture of an olive. I created this with the AI text to image tool in another video, but this feature works exactly the same with your own uploaded pictures or stock photos or AI generated pictures. Start by selecting a picture, and when a picture is selected, you can click Edit Photo in the formatting tools at the top. Here in the photo editing panel, you can go to the Effects tab, to the Tools section, and you're looking for the background remover or BG remover. And even if you see it listed here, you will not be able to use it with a free account. But I do have a Canva Pro account, so all I need to do is click on it, and after a moment, it has removed the background from that picture of the olive. This is a good way to remove a solid background like that, or maybe remove the sky from a photo. But let's try it with this photo of bottles, which has a more complex background. But first, I want to reset a bit. This picture has the frame applied to it, and the background remover certainly will work, even if a picture has been cropped or has the frame effect. But for this picture, it's going to be a little better if I start with the original version. So I'll select that picture here, and I'll click the trash can to delete that. And I also want to delete the frame. And if I go over to the Uploads tab on the left, I still have the original version of that picture from when I uploaded it earlier. So I'll drag that over to my design. Okay, now that I have that, I need to select the picture, then click the Edit Photo button up at the top. And here in the photo editing panel, I can choose the background remover. And once again, I think this worked very well. It was even able to remove that more complex background. But depending on how complex the picture is, you may need to make some adjustments. So I still have the picture selected, I still have the photo editing tools open, so I'm going to click on the background remover again. That focuses on the picture I'm working on and opens up some more controls. So you can use the erase or the restore tool. So starting with the erase tool, I'll make the brush size smaller, and then I can just paint out parts of the picture that I want to remove. Or in this case, what I really want is the restore tool. So I'll select that, I'll make the brush size bigger, and I'm going to paint parts back in because I did want to remove the main part of the background, but there's this table section of the picture that I do want to keep. Now, you may want to move slower with this and combine the erase tool with the restore tool, but I'm just going to very quickly paint back in the table section of this picture. And then that is roughly the part of the picture that I want to keep. So we have the table, but the rest of the background has been removed. Once this is done, you can click the back button up in the top left, and now I can see that table section is still here, but the rest of the background is gone. So I think that looks really nice. Now that I've removed the background from those two pictures, I just want to resize and move some elements around, and I think we can really make this design work. So I'm just going to move this olive for a moment. And then I'm going to resize the bottles. And I like the way the table goes all the way to the edges of the frame and the bottles overlap with the shape up at the top. If you're going for a look like this, you might need to adjust the layer order. Next, I'm going to select the text and move that down just a little bit, and that's much easier to read. Then I can select this olive. I'm going to make that much smaller and then just move that down here to this corner. But in this case, I need to change the layer order. So with that picture selected, I'll click Position up in the Formatting tools. Here in the Layers tab, I'll drag that up in the layer order. Great. So now I can position that olive down here as just a nice little accent. So I think removing the background from a few pictures gave me just what I needed to really make this design look much better. In other videos, we've seen how to create pictures and remove the background from pictures using artificial intelligence. Now, let's see some features that actually let you edit the content of a picture using artificial intelligence. I've started a design that focuses on this picture of olives on a branch. I'll select that picture, and when you select a picture, you can go to the formatting tools at the top and choose Edit Photo. And in the Effects tab here, we can find the Magic Eraser and Magic Edit. Now, at the time of this recording, the Magic Eraser does require a Canva Pro account. The Magic Edit option is available in a free account, but it's also in beta at the time of this recording, so that could change in the future. So looking at my picture, maybe there are just too many olives in the picture. So I'll use the Magic Eraser to erase one. So I'll choose Magic Eraser. You get a brush and you can change the size of that brush, and then you can brush over the part of the picture that you want to remove. So I'm going to brush over this olive. You should try to stay pretty close to the object, but you don't need to be too exact. The artificial intelligence should be able to identify what you're selecting. And that's it. It has removed that olive and filled in the space. So the artificial intelligence was able to look at the surrounding parts of the picture and predict what we would see if the olive were not there. Okay, let's try this with one of the olives in the middle of this group of three. But there's some pretty tight edges here, so I'm going to decrease the brush size so we can be a little bit more precise in what we select. And then I'm just going to be a little bit more careful to select around the edges of this olive. But I do need to make sure to select everything in the middle so the entire thing is selected. Then we'll give it a moment, and it was able to erase what I selected and fill in the background. And it did a pretty good job of filling in the parts of this other olive that were blocked. But this can be challenging. So you can always click the Reset Erasings button and try again if it just doesn't look right. But for now, I'm going to keep it as it is now, and I'll click the back button up in the top left. So that's the Magic Eraser. Next, I want to talk about the Magic Edit tool, which combines the power of the Magic Eraser and the text-to-image generation tool. So I think it would be interesting to see a branch with both olives and strawberries on it, something that would be impossible in the real world, but would be very possible using the Magic Edit tool. So we'll select Magic Edit, and you're not able to use the Magic Eraser and the Magic Edit tool on the same picture, so it's going to reset my Magic Eraser action. But that's okay. I'll click Use Magic Edit. And the first step here is pretty much the same as the Magic Eraser. You get a brush, and you can brush to select the object that you want. So I'll select this entire olive, but of course, I know that a strawberry is larger than an olive, so I'm going to feel free to select a much bigger space here so I can give it plenty of space to fill in a strawberry. And I think that's going to work there. But that's just the first step. Next, I'll click Continue, and then I'll need to type in a description of what I want it to replace the olive with. So I'm going to type in a strawberry. Then I'll click Generate, and it will generate some options using the artificial intelligence. So it gives us some options here, and I can click on these to see what they look like in the picture. If you don't like any of these, you can click the button here to generate new results and try some other options. But I actually think that this one looks pretty good. So I'll scroll down and I'll click Done. And now I've successfully replaced an olive in this picture with a fairly realistic looking strawberry. So using the artificial intelligence tools, I was able to make some pretty useful edits to the actual content of this picture. Canva can translate all of the text in your designs from one language to another. So if you're producing a marketing strategy that will be published in different regions, you can do the design work once, then translate the designs. This design has 3 text boxes in it. To translate them, I'll need to use an add-on app in Canva. So on the far left side, I'll click the Apps button, and the app we're looking for is called Translate. The easiest way to find it would be to use the search field up at the top. So I'll search for Translate, and then I can select it here. Now, if you use the Translate app once, it will stay in this list over on the left. You would probably need to scroll down to find it. And if the icon is still in the list, then you will not be able to find it in a search. You'll need to come back here to find it. So from this panel, you can set your options. I usually leave the original language set to automatically detect, which usually works, but if you have problems, you can come back here and specify the starting language. In the field for the language I want to translate to, I'm going to select Italian in this case. And then you do need to choose the page that you want to translate. This design only has one page, but I still do need to select it. Next, before you click the Translate button, the first time you use this, I do think it's a good idea to go to the Settings tab up at the top. Sometimes translating text will produce longer lines of text, so you can set this option to reduce your font size so everything still fits in the design, but you can turn that off if you don't like it. I also like to leave on this option to duplicate the page when translating. That way I can keep a version with the original language and the translated version. This is all set, so I'll go back to the Translate tab and I'll click the Translate button. And after a moment, this has all been translated. So now I have one page with the original English and another page that has been translated to Italian. Of course, you should check to see if the design still looks good. This line of text is a little long, so I'm going to select that and then I'll just use the options up at the top to shrink that. This line is also long, but in this case, I'm just going to edit the text. So I'll delete this and just make a quick change, and that works very well. But let's also consider the company name. The company name is Two Trees, and it translated that literally to Due Alberi. But Two Trees is the name of the brand. And if I was publishing marketing materials in Italy, I would want to use the actual brand name, not the translation of the brand name. Now, you can always go back here and manually change it after translating, but that would be tedious if you were planning to translate this to several different languages. So I want to share with you a trick that I use in these situations. Using techniques that we've already seen in this course, I made a new design with a custom size. And I recreated that part of the logo in this design, but I only included the text that I do not want to be translated. Once I had this design, I went to the Share menu and I went to Download. I exported it as a PNG, but I made sure to enable this option to keep the transparent background. So I downloaded that as a file to my computer. Then, when I went into my design, I went over to the Uploads tab on the left, and I uploaded that graphic that I made. So this is a graphic. It does not actually have text. It's just graphic that was made from text. So I want to put this into my design, but I'll have to go over to the design, and of course, let me first delete the translated version. So in my original version, I'm going to select all of the elements that will be replaced by this new graphic. So I'll need to carefully select each of those items. Then I'll drag in this graphic. And of course, I'm going to need to move and resize it. And this is a case where I'll need to change the position. So with that graphic selected, I'll go to the position option up in the formatting bar, and I'll just choose Send to Back. So that changes the layer order, and now this looks pretty good. So now I've got this banner in here, but this is not text. This is part of that graphic. So now I'll go back over to the translate tool. All of my settings are still set how I had them, so I'll choose translate, and it translates all of the text. And because this banner has the text actually baked into the graphic, it does not translate that, and I can keep the brand name in the original language. So that's just a little trick that might help you with the translate tool. With Canva, you can work on design projects collaboratively with others. One option is to set up a team, and we'll see that in another video. The other option, in this video, we will see how to share one individual design with another person. With a design open, you can click the share button near the top right. And at the top, you can share the design by putting in the email address for the person or people you want to share it with. So in this field, I'll put in an address. And if you want to share it with multiple people, just put in a comma and then put in the next email address. Then you can put in a message if you like, and then you can click send. That will send an email to that person with a link to access the design project. Now, if you see this prompt asking if you want to set up a team, you do not have to do this. If you just want to share that one design, you don't have to worry about making a team. You can just close this prompt. Teams can be valuable, but we'll talk about setting up teams in another video. So now I've shared the design, and I'll click the share button again up at the top. So now I can see a list of all of the people who have access to the design. I see myself, Julie, and Sandy. So I could click on any individual person's icon here, or I could click edit up at the top. And then on this list next to each person, you can open the menu and you can see their level of access. You can allow them to edit the project, only view it, or you can remove them from sharing access. But I'm going to leave this as is, and I'll click the back button up in the top left. So if you send a design to somebody using that option, they will need to have a Canva account to open the design. If they do not have a Canva account, they will be prompted to set one up before they can open it. But there is another option here which is great for guest users. You can copy a link to the design. Now, by default, this collaboration link is set so that only I can access it. Or if you've shared it with other people through the email above, then anybody who has been added that way can also access it. But I'm going to change it so that anybody with the link can access it. Then you have this menu where you can set permissions. If somebody has the link, do you want them to be able to edit the design or just view it or add comments? I'm going to grant full edit access. Then I can click this button to copy the link, and then I could paste it in an email or a message and send it to somebody. And I think the best thing about this collaboration link is that anybody can open the design from that link, even if they do not have a Canva account, and they don't need to ever set up a Canva account. To see how this works, I'm going to open my web browser. So I'm signed into Canva here in the desktop application, but if I go to the web browser, I am not signed into Canva. This is a good way to see what it would look like for another person on a different computer. I'll go to the address field and paste in the link that we just copied, then hit the return key. And now without signing into an account, I can see and edit this design. I'll just close this panel here. So if somebody opens the link without an account, they will be considered a guest, and they will be limited to the features from a free Canva account, even if the person who shared the design has Canva Pro. Since I am not signed into an account here in the browser, it gives me a temporary name, which is Sea Turtle. At the top, I can see all the people who currently have this design open. Nick Brazzi is me in the Canva app, and Sea Turtle is the anonymous guest user who accessed the design in the browser using that link. Multiple people can have access to a design and have it open at the same time. That includes registered users that I've shared the design with, or guest users with the share link. And if I have the design open, I'll be able to see as those other users make changes. So those are two options for sharing designs individually with other people. In this video, we will see how to set up a team in Canva, an established group of people you can work with and share designs with. But before we see this, we need to clarify an important detail. From the Canva website, we can go to the menu at the top for plans and pricing, then go to compare pricing. So in this course, we've talked about the free version of Canva and the pro version, but there's also a Teams subscription. Now, you might think that you are required to have a Teams subscription before you can make or join a team, but that is not the case. Anybody can create or join a team even if they have the free account. If you do that, the members of the team will be limited to the free features. The team subscription is a way to enable all of the pro features as well as a few additional team-based features for all members of your team. We will see some features in the chapter about branding tools which do require the team subscription. But for now, let's see how to set up a team even if you have a free or individual pro account. Of course, we'll go back over to Canva, and I want to look at the sidebar on the left. It says that I am using Canva in the personal mode. I am not currently in a team. You can make a new team by clicking the Create a Team button here on the sidebar, or if you don't see that option, it might be because you are already part of a team. But that's fine. You can make additional teams if you need to. You can click the gear button up at the top to go to Settings. On the left, we'll go to Billing and Plans, then scroll down, and there's an option to create a new team here. So I will click on that button to create a new team. I need to give the team a name. And if it prompts you to add people when you make the team, you can do that or you can skip it. We'll see how to add people in just a moment. For now, I'll create the team and I'll close this panel. And now I have the new team. Instead of saying personal over on the sidebar on the left, it now has the name of the team. And this is actually a menu that you can open. So you could switch back to your personal section, or if you are a member of multiple teams, you can switch between them here. But now that I have that team, we should see how to add people and manage the team. So make sure you select the team that you want to be working with. Then you can click the gear button up at the top to go back to settings. And now on the left side, I can see the name of the team that I am currently in. I'll select Team Details, and from here you can change the name of the team or even delete it later. Then on the left, I'll go over to the People section, and this is where you can add people to your team or remove them later. To add people, you can click the Invite button here or down here. So I'll click Invite and add some people using their email address. I'll click on the next field and add another address. And you can go through and add more people if you want. But for now, I'll just stick with these two people and I'll click Send Invitations. Each of those people will receive an email with a link to join the team. And if they do not already have a Canva account, they will need to set up an account. They will not have access to the team until they click that link in the email they receive. So I can see here that I am listed as the team owner, and those other people are listed as members. As the team owner, I could remove any of these people at any time. And if you have a large team with lots of members, you may want to go to the Groups option over on the left, where you can create separate groups and assign team members to those groups. Later, you can share design projects with specific groups. So now I have my team and I can manage members of the team. And I'm going to click the Canva logo up at the top to go back to the home page in Canva. So now in the sidebar, I can see the name of the team. I could open this menu and I could switch back to my personal designs, or if I was a member of other teams, I could switch to those here. And while we were working on this, Julie has accepted the invitation to this team. So there is a number 2 under the team name. There are now 2 members, myself and Julie. And if Sandy accepts the invitation, this will show 3 numbers. And it also shows that this is a free team. So this team is limited to the free features. Members of the team can share designs with each other, but they will be limited to the features that you would find in a free Canva account. If you need to upgrade to all of the features of the Canva for Teams subscription, there's a button to do that right here. That would enable all of the pro features for every member of the team, and it would enable the team branding features that we'll use later in this course. Or if the free features are enough for you, this is all you need to set up a team and share designs. In another video, we saw how to set up a team and add members to that team. Now let's see the details of sharing designs with members of your team. In the sidebar on the left, I can see the name of the team that I am currently in. But this is a menu. I can open that and I could switch over to the personal mode. All of the designs that I made in the past are stored in my personal section. They are not all shared with the team automatically, and I would need to switch over to my personal section to access them. And even if I do have the team selected as I do now, if I make new designs, those are not shared with the team automatically either. If you want to share a design with your team, you should start in the team and make a design. So I'm just going to quickly search for a template. And this template looks good, so I'll select that and choose Customize Template. Then after you make your design, you'll need to share it. So you can click on the share button in the top right, which we saw in another video. And instead of putting in the email address for a person you want to share the design with, you could put in the name of the team. So I can click there, type in the name of the team, and select that. Or if you've set up groups in the team, you can share the design with the group. So I can select the team, I can set up the sharing permissions from this menu, then click share. And of course, after you send the sharing invitation, you can go back to the share menu. You can see the people or the teams that you've shared it with, and you can click on the name of a person or a team, and you can change those sharing permissions if you need to. Now, as we were working on this, Julie, who is another member of this team, has shared a design with the team. So I'm going to go to the home page here in Canva, and I'll just close this and reset by clicking on the Canva logo. And I want to go over to the project section. And here I can see the design that I just made, but if I scroll down, I can see the design that Julie shared with the team. Now, up at the top in the projects view, you have this menu, and it's currently set to show projects from any owner. If I switch this to shared with you, that filters the list down to only designs that were shared by other users. But I want to reset that, so I'll go back to any owner so I can see all of the designs. So whether a design has been shared with you directly or through the team, anybody with access to the design can click on it to open it. And if the team was given full edit permission when it was shared, any member of the team can click the edit button and make changes. So for example, I could select a few boxes here and delete them. And I could change the text here. So any member of this team will be able to make changes to this design. So now you can share designs with your teammates and work on designs that others have shared. Many of the tools you use in Canva work the same, no matter what type of design you're making. But in the videos in this chapter, we will look at several of the most common types of designs and identify the special features and tools you can use for each one. In this video, I'll start by talking about a graphic or a logo. On the main page in Canva, I'll click the button to make a new design. And when I talk about graphics or logos, I'm talking about designs where the finished project is a static picture with no moving or animated elements. This is not an official category. Instead, when I look at things like social media posts for Instagram or Facebook or something like a basic logo, these are the types of designs that I'm thinking about. Usually, these designs are measured in screen dimensions using pixels. The preset for a logo is 500 pixels wide by 500 pixels tall, and an Instagram post is 1080 by 1080. But they're not always square dimensions. A Facebook post is 940 by 788. But let's branch out and search logo up in the search field at the top. And some of the items in these search results will fit into this category, but be aware you may see something like an animated logo or a YouTube channel logo. These are animations. They can support elements that move on the screen or video elements. Designs for video or animations have different tools, so we're going to explore those in a separate video. And by the time you finish this chapter, you'll be able to identify different features associated with different types of designs. For now, instead of choosing a preset from this list, let's go to the templates. So on the left side, I'll select the templates category. And of course, you could use the search bar at the top and you could search for a logo or a social media post, or you might use the categories over here on the left. I'll go to the social media category, then to Instagram post. And again, I want to point out that some of these have animated or moving elements. You'll see this play icon on the thumbnails for templates that have animated elements. These can be great. You can post static images or animated clips to Instagram. But since we're focusing on the tools for static images here, I want to choose something that does not have animated elements. So I'll choose this template, and then I'll click Customize this template to work with it. And of course, this should look very familiar to you because this is the type of design I've been working with in most of this course. You can access all of the standard tools over on the left side. There is a workspace where you do your design work. If you want a design that has multiple pages, you can click the button that says Add Page. And you can add new content to that page, or you could choose a template to add content to it. And then you can scroll up or down through those pages. You can use the zoom slider down here at the bottom if you need to zoom in to take a closer look at something, or you can drag it to zoom back out, or you can click on the percentage and choose fit to make it fit the workspace. And I do want to point out that there is an option up at the top to add animations to elements on your page, but that's something that we should save for later in this chapter. But for now, I want to go to the Share menu up in the top left and then go to Download. So when it comes time to export and save a static graphic, I recommend you download it as a PNG file or a JPEG file, which are common picture formats. You could also download it as a PDF, but those are more commonly used for print materials. And if you do choose PNG, there's an option here to keep a transparent background. This is only available for Canva Pro users. But if you never set a background color and you do not have a background image in your design, then a PNG is able to keep that empty background as transparent. And transparent backgrounds are really great for logos, and it helps when you import the graphic into other designs or place them on a web page. So if you want to design a logo, a static social media post, or any other type of still image that you will export and use in another application, these are the standard tools that you will use. Designs for video or animation projects use most of the same features as a static graphic, but they are different in one important way. They add the element of time to your design. You can have elements move or you can have videos play in your designs. I'll start by clicking the button to create a new design, and there are presets specifically for things like video. But keep in mind, you can add animated elements to most graphic types, including the various social media presets. But for now, I'll choose the preset for video, and at first glance, this looks the same as a static graphic. But at the bottom, the pages are organized in a line. You can think of this as a timeline. There's also a play button to play the design, and up at the top, we can see the total runtime for this design, currently set to 5 seconds. Now on the left, I'll go over to the Elements tab, and in addition to graphics and stock photos, there are also stock videos you can use. Or you could go over to the Upload tab and upload your own video clips to use, but let's use stock video clips for now. I'll click See All in the Videos category. I'll choose one of these clips and I'll drag it to the workspace. And just like a picture, you could drag it as the background, or you could drag it as a normal element that you could then resize and position on the page. Now, the runtime of this clip is 12 seconds long, or to be more exact, it's 11.8 seconds long. So we can see the total runtime of this page has changed up at the top. Okay, I'm going to drag another clip onto this page. So I'll drag that here, and once again, I will resize it and position it on the page. And now up at the top, we can see that the runtime is the total time, which includes the runtime of the longest clip. Down at the bottom, I could click the play button and we'll see all of the animated elements or videos on the page will play together at the same time. And for now, I'll click that button again to pause it. Now next, I'm going to click the undo button up at the top until we reset it to before I added that second clip. And this time, instead, I'm going to click the plus button down at the bottom to add a second page. So now this design has 2 pages, and I'll drag this other clip to that second page. And now we can really see this working as a timeline. I can scroll left and right to see my pages. I can click anywhere on one of these pages to place this playhead. Then when I click play, it will play through from one page to another. And I'll pause that. So I just added these clips as elements on the pages, but if I had added them as backgrounds on the pages, that could be a good way to edit multiple clips together. Now, in this timeline down at the bottom, you can point at the left or right edges of any of these pages and then drag those left or right to change the length of those pages. Or you could click on an individual element on a page, and in the formatting tools up at the top, you'll see the trim option. You can select that, and then you can drag the left or right edges of a clip to trim it down. And then you can click done once you have it trimmed the way you want it. So you can add video clips to a design to add that element of time, or you can add animations to graphics or text or photos. So first, let me add some text. On the left side, I'll switch over to the text tab. I'll choose one of these text presets, drag that to my slide, and I'll type in some text here. So when I have a text box selected or any other static element, you'll see there's an option in the formatting bar to animate it. So I could choose that, and then I could point at any of these animation effects to get a preview of it. These animations are for text, but different types of objects will have different options for animations. So I'll click on one of these to apply it, and then you will see other controls to change the timing or the direction or other details. Also in this panel, there is a tab for page animations. So there are many options for adding video clips or animating objects in your designs. And as with any other type of design, you may want to experiment with some of the templates. I recommend you take a look at some templates to find inspiration for your designs, but also to see how the different clips and animations can work. And when you're ready to export your design with video or animation, you can go to the Share menu up at the top, then go to Download, and you should choose the MP4 format to download a video that you can import into other applications. And you can also post MP4 videos on most social media platforms. Or you could use the animated GIF format, and that can be great for short animations, but it will not work with audio. In this video, we will talk about designs for social media, like Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook posts. Now, we've already seen templates and presets for social media designs. In fact, most of the designs I've created in this course started with a preset for an Instagram post. And we know that social media posts can have static graphics, or they can have video or animated elements. So there's nothing new to cover when it comes to creating and building your design. Instead, we'll talk about publishing directly to your social media accounts. So I have a design open that I built earlier in this course. When I'm ready to publish it, I'll click the Share button up in the top right. And earlier in the course, we saw some export options and some options for sharing designs with teammates. In this video, I want to go to the section here labeled Share on Social. And from here, you can link Canva directly to your accounts on many social media platforms so you can publish to them directly. My project was designed as an Instagram post, so I could choose Instagram, but Instagram is used primarily on mobile devices. If you are publishing to an Instagram personal or creator account, you'll need to do that on a mobile device. Later in the course, we'll see how to use Canva in the mobile app, and you will be able to access designs that you've built on your computer. So for now, I'll click the back button to back up, and once again, we'll go to the category for Share on Social. Connecting the different social media accounts generally works the same, but the login process is different for each. Since we can't do Instagram here in the desktop app, I'll just connect Canva to my Twitter account so I can publish my design there. So I'll choose Twitter, and I'll need to connect Canva to my Twitter account. So I'll click Connect Twitter. Now, I have already signed into Twitter here in my web browser, so it's not going to prompt me to sign in with my email address and password. If you are not already signed in, it would prompt you for that, and the sign-in process is different for each social media account. But from here, I just need to click Authorize App, and it will go through the rest of the process. And since I was working with Canva in the desktop app, it's prompting me to switch to that. So I'll switch back to the desktop app, and now I can see Twitter has been connected to Canva. Let's reset and see how I can use this in the future. So I'll close this, and when I'm ready to publish this design, I'll click the share button up at the top. I'll go to share on social, then I can choose Twitter, and my account is already linked here. I could go to this menu and I could link another account. That only works if you have Canva Pro, but I'm going to stick with the one account that I have here. Now, my design has 2 pages, but I only want to publish 1 page. So I'm going to select the page that I want, then click Done. And then I could type in some text to go along with this post. And then I could click the button to publish this now. Or another option would be to schedule a specific date and time for this to publish. This feature is only available if you have a Canva Pro subscription. But I could select that, and since this is related to a marketing promo in August, I could choose a day at the end of July, and then I could choose the time, and then I could click Done. But for now, I'm not going to schedule this. I'll just click the back button, and instead I will publish this directly now. So I'll click Publish Now and give it a moment to publish. And now that's done. I'll close this, and to verify, I'll go over to my web browser. I'll go to the tab where I have my Twitter account open. I'll reload the page, and I can see that that design has been published. And of course, anybody who is following me on Twitter will see this in their feed. Okay, let's go back to Canva again. And once again, I'll go to the Share menu. And you'll see that there is a button to schedule your social media post right here in the main Share menu. So now my Twitter account is linked to Canva, so I can quickly publish my designs to Twitter in the future. And you can also come back here and link any of these other social media services to Canva and publish to those. Canva can be used to make documents, similar to applications like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. But in Canva, you can bring all the design tools that you've used for graphics and videos into a document. From the main page, you could go to Create a Design and then choose one of the presets here for a document, or you could go to the left side and browse the templates, or in the banner, you could select the category for docs and choose one here. So I'm just going to start with a normal blank document. And of course, I should give this a name. So up at the top, I'll click on the name field and type in the name. Then hit the return key. Then you can just start typing text into the body of the document. And then I'll hit the return key. But what we have here is more than just simple text. Each piece of text is considered to be a separate block, and blocks can contain different types of content. On this new line, instead of just typing in text, I could type the slash key, and that opens a menu where you can choose the type of block that you want. A normal block for text would be formatted as body, but the first text line in a document is formatted as a heading by default. In this case, I'm going to choose the block style for a subheading, and then I'll type in some more text. And I want you to see this plus sign next to the line. And I'll click on this line above, and you'll see that places a plus sign next to that. And that identifies each of these as a separate block. And you could also click on that button to add a new block under the current one. For now, I'll click at the end of this line and then hit the return key to start another new block. And I could just type in some basic text, but I don't want that. I'm going to delete that, and instead I'll type the slash key, and I could add all kinds of different types of text blocks. I could make lists or charts, and there's lots of other options here, so you may want to scroll through and get familiar with these options. But for my next block, I want to use the Magic Write option. This option is only available if you are using Canva Pro. This is an artificial intelligence tool that can generate text based on your prompts. So I'll select that, and then I'll need to write the prompt. Then I'll hit the return key, and it will generate that text. It can be hard to really demonstrate the power of artificial intelligence because it can respond to an unlimited amount of prompts or questions. You need to try it to see what it can do. It's usually pretty effective, but it's always good to check for errors. You could use this as a starting point that you can rewrite for your needs, or you could just hit the return key and continue. So you can write documents and even get some help from the Magic Write tool. But since this is Canva, we can bring other visual elements in as well. Over on the left side, we could click the Templates button and browse through templates. We could go to Elements and browse through any of the stock graphics or photos from here. but you'll see the Elements tab is changed. It changes the order in which these elements are presented. So items like tables and charts are up at the top of the list. So I could search through the stock photos here, or I could go to the Uploads tab and use one of my own graphics. I'll just drag this picture into my document and I can work with it there. So you'll see all of the same tabs over on the left that you would find in any other design project, except for the Text tab, because text is already integrated into a document. And you can also take advantage of the Brand Hub if you have brand kits set up. In fact, I'm going to select this picture that I just put in, and I'll delete that. And instead, I'll start a new block. So I'll type the slash key, and I'm not even going to scroll through this list. I'm just going to start typing in the name of the block that I want, which is a logo block. Then I can choose that here. And because I have a brand kit set up, it will let me choose one of the logos from my brand kit. So I can select that to drop it into the document. And when you're finished with a document, you can go to the Share option up in the top right, and you can go to Download, and you'll see the only download option here is for a PDF. This is a file that you can keep if you need the document outside of Canva, or you can print a PDF. You just need to choose the paper size from here. Since I'm working in the US, I would choose the letter size, and then I could download this PDF. So this mixes the tools of a document and a design project into one. If you have documents on your computer as PDF files, you may have found that it can be very difficult to edit a PDF. The simple fact is that a PDF is not designed to be edited. It's designed to be the final form of a document, which can be shared and printed, but not edited. But with that in mind, there are tools that can let you edit a PDF file, and I found Canva's PDF to Design feature to be one of the easiest options. So in Canva, you can start by going to the Projects section from the sidebar on the left. And of course, this is where you can manage and organize your projects. But you can also upload a PDF directly to your projects. To do that, you'll click the Add New button up at the top, go to Upload, then go to the folder on your computer where you have the PDF file, select it, and choose Open. And I can see that is uploading here. And in a moment, I have a project in Canva that was generated from the PDF. So technically, this is not a PDF. It's a completely new Canva design created from the PDF. And one great thing about that is that the original PDF is still on my computer. So I can feel free to make changes to this design, and that will not affect the original PDF. So you can open the design, and we can see that it has created several separate objects in this design that match the original PDF almost exactly. This PDF had 2 pages, and I can see they have both been imported here. So you can select pictures, you can change the size of them, you can move them around, and make any changes you want. And what most people are probably hoping for, you can select text boxes and you can make changes. So this will help if I use the zoom slider down at the bottom, but then I can double click on this box and make a change. For now, I'm just going to delete some text, and that should be enough. So I'll just click outside of that. I'll click on the percentage down here in the zoom area and choose Fit. So if you just need to make a few small edits to the text, that's no problem. But you could also move existing pictures or add more elements to the design. I do think it's a good idea to give this a name that clearly shows that it's a revised version of the PDF. So in the name field up at the top, I'm going to add a little bit of text here, then hit the return key, and now it has a new file name. And when you're finished, you can go to the Share button in the top right, then you can go to Download, and you can download the revised document as a PDF file. Now, when we go to this menu, you can choose the file format. If you choose the PDF standard format, that may compress the pictures and give you a smaller file. But to maintain the highest possible quality or print the PDF later, you should choose the PDF print format. Then you can click the download button to download it, and you'll have this new version of the PDF on your computer. And of course, you'll still have the original version on your computer as well. So you can use the PDF to design conversion to start a new design based on a PDF file. But a lot of people will just use it to simply edit or make a change to a PDF. When it comes to designing print products in Canva, there are a few very different options. You can print something yourself on your home printer, but Canva also offers a service where they can print your designs as high quality posters, cards, and more. They can even print designs on items like t-shirts, tote bags, and water bottles. I've opened a template for a poster here, and we've seen posters in this course before, and you can use all of the same tools that you would use in any other static graphic design. So, whether you're using a poster or a document or a flyer or anything else that you might want to print, you can go to the share button up in the top right. And there's an option here that says print your design. But this cannot be used to print using your own printer. This takes you to a service where you can pay Canva to print your design on a poster or art canvas or other medium. Often, when you choose one of these options, it will need to resize your design for it to work. For now, I'm just going to click the back button up in the top left to take a step back. If you do need to print something using your own printer, you should go to the download section here in the share menu. Then under the file type, you can choose the option for PDF print, and then you can download a PDF to your computer, which you can easily open and print. And that's what I would do for anything I needed to print at home. You could also take a PDF file to your local print shop, and that would work as well. But let's go back to the main page in Canva. And from the banner on the main page, you can click the option here for print products. These include presets for different types of products. And of course, you can scroll down to see the different types of products, and there are lots of templates and presets here. So as an example, maybe you wanted to print a design on a t-shirt or a tote bag or a sweatshirt. So you could choose one of those presets. I'll choose the preset for a hoodie sweatshirt. Now, this is a blank preset, but I could choose from one of the templates in the Design tab over on the left. I'll scroll through here and find a template that I like and click on that. And this template has two pages because a sweatshirt has two sides. So I could choose one of these, or I could click Apply to both pages. And now these two pages in the design represent the different sides of a sweatshirt. And clearly, different presets for different products will work differently and will have different templates available as well. But I could make my own design, or I could modify this design using any of the standard tools we've seen in this course. I could add graphic elements, including stock images. I could upload my own pictures or add text, or I could design something using my team's brand kit. And when you're finished, you can go to the top right next to the share button, and there's an option to have this item printed. From here, you can set your options. You can choose which page from your design will be printed to each side. You can choose the color, style, and size for the sweatshirt, and then you can choose the quantity and place your order. So in addition to using Canva to create your designs, you can use Canva's print services to have your designs printed to all sorts of products. Canva has tools for building a presentation, similar to PowerPoint or Keynote. Earlier in this course, there was a video on adding animated elements or videos to a design, and those can be used in a presentation as well. Templates are a great starting point for presentations. Over on the left, you can choose templates, then go to the subcategory for presentations, find a template here that looks good, select it, then click Customize this template. So this starts a new presentation with just one page. I can see that at the bottom. When you're making a presentation, these pages will act as slides. And since I chose a template, I could click the plus button here to make a new slide, and then I could choose one of these pre-made slides from the template on the left. Click on it to apply it to that page. Or I could click this option that says Apply All Pages, and it makes a page for each of the slide styles from that template. This is a great way to start, but let's look at another option. I'll click the home button up in the top left to go back to the main page, and I'll close this to reset. And I'm going to click the Create a Design button up at the top and just search for Presentation. So I'll just use one of these presets to make a new blank presentation. In this blank presentation, you can go to the Design tab over on the left and choose the option for Magic Design. This uses artificial intelligence to help you choose a template. I'll select that, then I need to type in the description for the presentation I'm trying to build. Then I'll hit the Return key, and we'll see some options. So the artificial intelligence in Magic Design will offer several options here. You can click on one of these, and then you can scroll through the slides that are included with each one. And this is not only about the look and style. These slides have been built out with AI generated text based on the goal that I described for my presentation. And naturally, it also includes pictures of olive oil bottles and related graphics. So I could choose one of these, then click Create My Presentation. And this presentation already has several slides or pages set. You can select a page, and if you want to delete it, you can click the button with three dots on that page and choose Delete Page. Or if you want to change the order of slides, you can drag them left or right to do that. And you should spend some time editing the text and adding your own design elements. For now, I'll go to the first slide and I'm going to bring in my logo from the brand hub. So on the left, I'll click the tab for the brand hub. I'll choose my logo, drag it onto the slide, resize that, and position it where I want. Of course, you may want to add animations, so you can always add animated elements as well. And when you're ready, you can also show your presentation from here, just by clicking the Present button up at the top. Choose your options. I want to show this as full screen, then I'll click Present. Then using the mouse button or the arrow keys on my keyboard, I can flip through the presentation. And when I'm finished, I could just hit the Escape key on the keyboard to end that presentation. Now, finally, we should talk about exporting this outside of Canva. You can export and download a presentation as a video file, but video files will simply play. They don't wait for you to click to progress through the slides. So you may want to build in some specific timing. So start by selecting a slide, then up at the top in the formatting tools, there's an option for timing. So you can select that and change the timing for each slide. You could click this option to apply this timing to all of the slides, or you could just set it for one slide at a time. Then select another slide and then set the timing for that slide and so on. Once you've defined the timing for each slide, you can go to the Share button up in the top right, then go to Download, then to the menu for the file format, and if you want to download a video, you can choose the MP4 format. Or you could export your presentation as a PDF, which can be a great way to generate handouts for the presentation. You could send the PDF to your meeting attendees, or you could print it yourself. So Canva can be a great tool to design and present your presentations, especially if you have a defined brand kit and you want to maintain design consistency with all of your other materials. You can use Canva to build and publish a website. Canva is not a full-featured web design tool, and there are some limitations. This video will just be a brief introduction to the website building tools. If you want to learn more, you may want to look at this course, Building Responsive Websites in Canva, for much more information. Now, before we go to Canva, I want to take a look at the website for my company. This was not built in Canva. It's a normal website, and this is just the first page on my website. I can scroll through and see the information on this page. And like many other websites, I could click on a link, which will take me to another page. And if I want to go back, I can click the back button up in the top left to go back to that previous page. This is all very standard stuff on a web page. But when you design a website in Canva, it's important to understand that each design project you make in Canva will be only one web page. If you need a website like this with separate pages, each page would need to be built as a separate project in Canva. With that in mind, let's go over to Canva. And you could start with a template, or from the banner here on the front page, you can click where it says websites. And from here, I'll choose a business website. And it starts blank, but I could choose one of the templates over here on the left. So I'll select one of those, and this template has 5 pages available. I could choose an individual page, but I'll click Apply All 5 pages. So now when we look at our design, I can scroll through and I can see those 5 pages. But the pages in Canva do not show up as separate web pages. If I were to publish this site, this entire project would be one page. So what Canva refers to as pages, we can think of as sections on a single web page. So I'm just going to use this template and I'll make some changes. I could select this text here and change that. And I could add my own graphics. I'll go over to the Uploads tab and drag in one of my own pictures. And then I'll go over to the Brand Hub and I'll bring in one of my logos. And of course, I'll need to resize that and position it on the page. So you can build the sections on your web page just like any other Canva design. Just remember, if you want other pages on your website, you should build them as separate design projects. Now, there are lots of other options, but as an overview, I think there are two main things you still need to do for your website. First, you will probably want to build links. So you can start by selecting a picture or a text box. Now, when I select this text box, I can see that it is in a group. I will need to ungroup it before I get the option that I want. So I could select that text, I could go to this menu, and then there's an option here to add a link. So I could link this to another design in Canva, but that doesn't help you for a web page. You could link it to one of the other sections on this page, so you could have the link scroll down to that section on the same page. But in this case, what I want to do is add a link to another page that's on the web. So I'm going to go back to my web browser, and I'll just select the address for this web page, and I'll use the keyboard shortcut to copy that. Then I'll go back to Canva. And in this case, I want to make the link from my logo. So I'll choose my logo, click the button with 3 dots to open that menu, then choose link, and then I'll just paste in the address for the page that I want it to link to, then hit the return key. So now if somebody clicks on this graphic, it will link to the page on that other website. Finally, to make the web page available to the world, you need to publish it. Before you publish the page, you can click the preview button up at the top so you can see what that page would look like when it is published. So I can scroll through and confirm that it is just one page with different sections. And I could also test this link. So I'll click on that and it does open that web page, so that looks good. All right, I'll go back to Canva and I'll close the preview by clicking the close button up here in the top left. And when you are ready to publish your website, you can click the Publish Website button up near the top right. Now, if you just want to quickly publish the website without setting up anything else, you could use a free domain provided by Canva. Canva will host the website, but the address will be provided by them. If you need a specific address, yourbusinessname.com or something like that, you can buy a new domain name or you can use a domain name that you already have. Each of those options will take some configuration, but this is where you can find those controls. Clearly, this is just a quick look. An introduction to the website tools in Canva. So I encourage you to take a look at the course, Building Responsive Websites in Canva, for much more information. In Canva, you can make a whiteboard project. This can be a great tool for brainstorming ideas, creating workflows, and more. I'll start by making a blank whiteboard. From the banner on the main page, I'll go to the whiteboards option and just choose the basic preset for a whiteboard. Now, whiteboards look a little different from other design projects. The background is a grid of dots, and there is no boundary for a specific canvas. If you click the Resize option up at the top, you'll see that whiteboards do not have defined dimensions. You can place objects, move around, and zoom in or out nearly infinitely. You can use any of the normal design tools, but there are a few that will be particularly useful, including the draw tools, which we haven't really covered in detail in this course. On the left side, we can go to the Draw tab. So if you're brainstorming an idea, these drawing tools can be a great way to make free-form sketches. You can choose the pen, marker, or highlighter tool. Then you can choose a color, and then you can choose a size for the stroke, and then you can make whatever marks you need to brainstorm your idea. You could also go back to the draw tools and click this arrow, which is a selection tool, which would let you select a mark, and then you can delete it. Also, if you go over to the Elements tab on the left, you'll see that the elements that are more likely to be used in a whiteboard are at the top of this list. Now, you certainly can scroll down and use stock photos or videos in a whiteboard, but these options for sticky notes and shapes are very useful in whiteboards. And to really see the potential, you might want to look at some templates. In the top left, we see a tab for templates. In other designs, we would see a tab labeled Design, but here in the whiteboard, it's labeled as Templates. So you can take a look and see how you can combine various shapes and text objects along with sticky notes to brainstorm a schedule or a decision tree and more. I'll just choose one of these templates to have something here in the design. And then I could use the zoom slider down here at the bottom to zoom in and out. And I could select elements and work with them just like any other elements in another design. So you could use a whiteboard to brainstorm your own ideas, but I think the whiteboard is particularly valuable in a team environment. So, like any other design, you can go to the share button up in the top right corner to share the project with your coworkers. If you've not watched the chapter in this course on working with teams, you should take a look at those videos. If you share a whiteboard with other people, then multiple people can open and work on it in real time, which is a great way to collaborate on brainstorming sessions. And finally, I want to point out one special option in a whiteboard. At the bottom, there's this option for a timer. Some people like to use a timer for structured brainstorming sessions. So the tools you have available in a whiteboard are not that different from other types of designs. Sure, the background and scaling are different, and you have the timer option here, but the way you work with drawing tools and other elements are basically the same. The whiteboard option lets you use familiar design tools for a very different purpose.